Have you ever noticed that the more you care about something, the harder it is to act on it? The more you care about the thing that you're trying to make sure is right or perfect or give of yourself to the thing, it's like the harder it is to make progress in the thing if you don't feel like it's perfect, right? If you don't feel like it's the exact thing that you need it to be at times, the thinking of what it could be or the thinking of how you can make it better or just the process of whatever it is, it's like you want so badly for the thing to come out the right way that you refrain from doing anything that might even like try to mess it up because you're thinking so much about it going the right way. I got a confession to make at the top of this episode. And my confession is I think that, well, I'm pretty sure that I can be fearful. I can be a fearful human being at times. Entering 2026, I think there's some fear. I think I'm scared, y'all. I'm just being honest. I think there's some fear entering 2026. I think there's some fear because you know what you would like to pursue. I know what I would like to pursue. I know what I would like to see happen. I know the progress I would like to see come to pass. And maybe you have listener audience. Maybe you have your things that you would like to see come to pass this 2026, right? You know what that is. But for me, I know. And I think I know what those things are. And in knowing what those things are, I'm trying to steward them in a way and I'm carrying them, but I may be gripping them a little too tightly as I enter this year, right? Because as we enter this year, just might be gripping things a little too tight. But that's what we're going to explore today. Navigating that fear, navigating that uncertainty when you want the thing as badly as you may want it. And how do you navigate that? What could that look like? How do you not jeopardize the very thing that you like just because you're overthinking or you're fearful in some of that? That's what we're going to get into. But before we do that, welcome back to another Crazy Good Talks. Listen, if it's your first time listening, my name is Josh, and I am just super excited to be able to journey with y'all a little bit as we navigate Crazy Good Talks. Here's the commitment right now. I will be honest, open, and transparent. That's the commitment to y'all, to the listener. I will be honest, open, and transparent as we navigate life and just figuring out life as it goes, right? We're not here for answers necessarily. We're here to kind of explore and give language to some things that we may be processing and feeling as we're trying to build a life that we actually want to live, right? So as we navigate that, before we jump into things, I just want to kind of do like a check-in, right? Because a lot of times I feel like we navigate life and we go through things, but we don't necessarily stop to be like, man, how am I feeling right now? How am I feeling right now? How am I processing things right now? What is going on in my world? And I want to build a rhythm where we regularly check in with ourselves, right? So I just want to do a quick check-in. And for me, navigating coming into the new year and all of the things. Listen, let me tell you something. I'm super excited. I'm ready. Let me tell you, I was ready. And this is super funny. So we wind up having some break time and had a great Christmas, had a great New Year's. It felt like, so the week, for context, for my work, the last week of the month of December was like a kind of work from home, kind of check your email, make sure that you're semi-available, but so just a bit more freedom there. And so yes, it was a pretty chill week, to be honest. And it was funny because by the time we got to like Wednesday, Thursday, I'm just like, man, like it keeps feeling like it's Friday or Saturday, and like you keep picking up these bonus days, and I'm just like, this is amazing. This is great. And I don't know about you, I am the type of person where I'm like, man, I like blank. I like a blank schedule, right? I like the ability to have nothing on my schedule and to be able to wake up that day and be like, I have no idea what I am about to do. But when I do it, I'm probably going to have some fun doing it. So that's what it was, man. It was time with family. It was time to kind of hang a little bit and just some time of just some open space and being able to think and all the things. So as we went back to work, there was something on my mind as we went back to work. And the thing that was on my mind, no, there wasn't anything on my mind. I was going back to work and I was like, man, you know what? I feel like I feel rested. I feel like I'm checking my pace here. Like there are commitments that I don't have this year that I had last year that made my year pretty busy or start off pretty fast. And I'm like, man, this is cool. And I'm going into work and I feel my levels rising a little bit, just rising a little bit. And I don't know what it is. So I get in and I'm just like, man, okay, I feel like my thoughts are everywhere. I clean it up, you got to get to the office and clean your stuff up a little bit, throw the old away and all of that. And I'm just like, man, like I did all of that and I still felt unsettled. So I'm just like, man, maybe I need to whiteboard. Now, let me tell you something. If you're not a whiteboard person, you need to become a whiteboard person, okay? Let me tell you, the effectiveness of a whiteboard, to be able to put a marker to that whiteboard and get your thoughts out of your head, that's just been a wonderful thing for me. So I'm just like, maybe I need to whiteboard. I need to create categories and what's in my head and what needs to get done and kind of dump that. So I did that for about 20 minutes, 30 minutes. It was great. The list was long. The list was very long. But it felt better knowing what it was that was looming over me, right? And I started attacking the list a little bit, and I finished one of the things on the list. I tried to attack the thing that was most pressing. I did that. I was like, man, I gotta go for a walk. I gotta be honest with you. So I go for a walk, and I'm just like, man, why do I feel like? Wait, why does this feel like I went from like just a chill pace to just like a low level franticness, like. And I was just observing that, and I just was just like, okay, this is just what it is. And then we made it through the day, and it was fine. But it was funny because I got home and I talked to my wife, and I was like, man, I'm telling her about my day, and I happened to mention like, yeah, I was kind of feeling, and by the time I finished that, she just like, me too. And we started laughing about that or whatever the case may be. But it was just very interesting. So I think on the check-in, what I'm trying to say is I think part of how I'm feeling, I think right now is a little frantic, but I feel more settled than I did a few days ago. But just a little bit of franticness, but I'm aware of it, and I know why it's existing. It's just coming from just from a more hanging state to now being back on top of things and catching up on whatever. So it's cool, but we're here, and I hope you're aware of how you're feeling right now, and you're here, and we're about to continue this conversation. Here's what we're going to look like. We're talking about the fear of losing, right? We're talking about the fear of losing and how we navigate that. Here's what kind of put me on to this a little bit. I was reading a book by John Wooden. I'm reading a book by John Wooden. John Wooden, let me read you a little bit of his bio so you know who he is. So John Wooden was an American basketball coach and player. He won 10 national college, NCAA national championships in a 12-year period as a head coach for the UCLA Bruins, okay, including a record 7 in a row. No other team has won more than four in a row in a Division I college men or women's basketball. So John Wooden has this book out, and it's basically about the pyramid of success or something like that. I think it's called, or something like that. But it's essentially kind of like the principles that he kind of guides and leads his teams by, and just these, like, forgot how many there are, but there are these principles that he kind of guides them by. I think they're like 20 maybe, or 19 or something like that. And he kind of just talks about those things one by one. So I had picked up that book, had it in my wish list for a little while. I finally added it to the Audible and decided to kick the year off with it. And he told this interesting story that I thought was very interesting. He told a story of this player, and he was talking about this player, and he was saying a lot of times when he coaches, and it's like a high stressful situation or game situation, he often picks the person that he picks to give the ball to in that moment is typically the one that I think the way he put it roughly was it's typically the one that's not afraid to miss the shot, right? The one that's done the work and is focused more on making the shot and not as focused on whether or not they're going to make the shot. And I thought that was super interesting. That he was so keen on the person that had the ability to bounce back, and that would focus on, man, what do I need to do to make the shot? Think about this for a second. Let's zoom out for a second. Think about this. If you never played sports, if you have played sports, you probably understand this a little bit more, but the pressure's on. They're going to put the ball in your hands to make something happen. And he says, I'd rather have the person that's thinking about the things that can go right, essentially, than the person that's thinking about what's going to happen if this goes wrong. And I think that's some of what I've navigated kind of going into this year is thinking a little bit more about the things that can possibly go wrong than focusing on what I need to do for the things that could go right. Right? I think I realized for myself, I'm more worried about whether or not the shot goes in as opposed to whether or not I'm prepared well enough to take it. right? I'm more worried about whether or not the shot goes in, whether then if I'm more prepared, if I'm prepared enough to just actually take the shot, right? So why do we fear losing? Right? If you're thinking about, maybe you're thinking about the thing that's kind of been the block for you, or the thing that you're overcoming or navigate, or thinking about, like whatever that thing you're thinking about, like why are you afraid for to not see that thing come to pass? Why are you afraid of losing that thing? Whether it's starting the business that you know you need to start, or whether it's writing the book that you wanted to always write, or whether it's getting into the gym, whatever the goal, whatever the thing is, why are we so afraid of losing that? I guess I think three things that come to mind for me is that one of the things is you care. I think you're aware, and you're next to something that's meaningful to you, right? So you care, right? It's something that, first off, it's like you care. It's something that you want to see happen. It's something that you care about. It's something that you have a vested interest in that thing going well. So it's just like, it's not wrong to feel fear in that, right? Because fear of losing that thing just shows that you actually care, right? So I think that we should be aware of that, right? It's telling us something. It's like, whoa, we care about this thing, that we want this thing to go well. And then we're aware, right? We're aware of the stakes, if you would. We're aware of what this thing is, or whatever the thing is that we're thinking about, how that can change things for us, or how that may help us in the future. We're aware of what the opportunity actually is, and that's a good thing, right? To be aware. We're aware of that. And then it's an indicator that we're standing near something that's meaningful to us, right? If we have a fear of losing things, or a fear of wanting to do this thing so right, that means, okay, there's some passion there. There's some vested interest. There's something that's meaningful to you about that thing, right? But here's the thing. Overprotecting the thing can almost guarantee that you'll never get the result, right? If we're so focused on the outcome, it's going to be very hard to achieve the result. So what do we do about that? How do we move in a way where we don't jeopardize the very thing that we want to see? How do we move in a way where we don't get in the way of the very thing that we're trying to make happen? How do you do it? Here's what I am starting to look at for myself. For me, I think it starts with naming what's at stake. Right? I think it starts with naming what's at stake. And as I think about that, I think that I think the thing I'm afraid of losing I don't think I care about the thing or whatever it is that I do being necessarily successful. I think I fear wasting my potential. Let that sit. I think I fear wasting my potential, y'all. I think I always over-index on wanting to leverage or maximize a thing. And I think that as I enter the year, I think sometimes I see all the things that can be. And with that being said, and I know that, okay, well, I can't focus on everything. So I got to narrow down on some things and like really lock in on this thing. But like, I think at times where I may be paralyzed to do a thing, it's because I fear squandering my potential, squandering the talents that I have, squandering the gifts that I have. And I think that at times immobilizes me, right? That at times makes me not want to move because I don't want to make the wrong kind of choice. I don't want to. So like I'm it's not that it's not that I don't want to do the thing. It's not that I don't get fearful of doing the thing, but then I get hesitant. Right? I think this podcast is a version of that, right? I think I had to let myself go and say, man, like I know how I would, maybe it could be better like this, or I could do this, or I could do this. But the truth is, as we iterate on something, as we experiment with the thing, that's how we learn what needs to come next. But I think sometimes for me, I don't know if we got any other thinkers like me listening to this right now, but for me, I am a thinker. So I will think my way all the way through things. And if I can't get to the finish line, sometimes I'm like, I'm not gonna start that yet until I can work my way through to what the through line is. But it's rarely is that effective because, like I said, you when you actually do the thing, you learn different things along the way, and you realize, that wasn't the path. This was the path. But yeah, I think it starts with naming what's really at stake. What are you afraid to lose? What's the thing? What is it going to cost you? Is it your time? You don't want to waste your time on the thing? Is it credibility? You don't want people to look at you in a certain type of way if this thing doesn't work? If you say you're going back to the gym for the fourth time and you've told everyone before and you've had this journey and you had this thing and you haven't showed progress, so you don't want to put yourself out there like that? Is it you don't want others to judge you for making mistakes? What is the thing? And can you name it? Because I think as we start to name it, as I name it, it starts to help me to separate from the outcome of the thing to really fixating on what it is that I'm actually afraid of. So I would start by trying to name what's really at stake. I think I'd also, I am also choosing, because this is in real time. I've not got this figured out. This is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get unstuck in real time. I think also it's, for me, it's redefining losing. And I have to do this frequently. This is not something that's new to me, but this is something that I find myself having to recalibrate towards, redefining losing, right? And I think this is it. I think, simply put, I think losing is not the thing that I did does not work, or it didn't work like I thought it would. Losing is, this showed me something, right? It's not, I didn't reach this result that I wanted. Yeah, that may be true, but it's also, and it showed me that, fill in the blank. So I think at times where I get more positive and when I'm in a more healthy state, I think I am I am naturally looking at things in that lens. And that's why I like to do experiments. That's why I like versions of things, because I'm just like, yeah, okay, we could try it. Let's try this thing in this version. And again, in real time, I'm going to keep talking about what I'm living in real time. But this podcast is a version of this. Like, okay, let me try this. Let me try this version of this. Let me try talking about this. I don't know what's going to come up. I don't know if it's what people are going to resonate with, what they're not going to resonate with. But when I put it out in its form, it allows people to react to it or not to react to it. Or they get to say, hey, man, I like this part more, or a certain topic rings off and it's like, oh, so that's the thing. But it takes me shifting my framework or my mindset from, man, this thing didn't work, or man, this thing didn't get this many views, or man, this thing didn't, whatever the case may be. But no, man, this showed me this. Like, this showed me whatever. So I think it's the reframe of the redefining what losing actually is in this season as I move towards clarity on that. I think the last thing that I am trying to do as I recalibrate is not redefining losing. It's starting small. How can I start small? How can I, for the John Wooden, calling back to that story, how can I take a shot that if I miss, my world doesn't come crashing down, right? We got to learn how to, we got to learn how to make, I think there's a book out there. I have not read it yet, but it's been on the title caught my eye, and I think it's called Tiny Bets. Like, we got to learn how to make tiny bets. I think sometimes, let me reframe. I think sometimes for me, I want to make the big bet. I want to overhaul. I want to do the big thing, right? But then it's funny, though, because I think that's just me personally. But then I think I'll evaluate myself, or I'll think myself through to the point where I'm just like, no, you know what? I can't. I'm not going to, no, like, let me find what's the mini step. So a lot of times people sometimes think, and then they'll tell me, it's like, yeah, Josh, I know, like, man, with all the stuff you've done before, whatever, you're such a risk taker, you're such a this. And I'm just like, yeah, but it's very calculated. Like, rarely am I taking a huge swing at something, unless it's just like, man, there's a opportunity there and you're going to jump into the thing. I think that's different. But I think being strategic on what the next small step could be, right? And let me make this more plainly, because we're continuing to talk about this podcast right now. So let me make this more plainly. So it's just like, it's as if I would have came out and said, you know what, I'm going to try this. And I'm going to, the first podcast I record, listen, y'all, I'm going to record 100 more podcasts. Why would I commit myself to that? Why would I do that? Like, what would that gain me? Like, what would that, like, that would put so much more pressure on me to try to figure out what this thing is. And don't get it twisted. There's a time to be all in on something, but I'm just saying, at times, sometimes you just need your next step, man. Sometimes it's just write that page. Sometimes it's just like, hey, man, don't even focus on, just get into the gym today. Okay. I don't know who I'm talking to, but that's for somebody. Just today. And I need to too. Well, let's both do it. Just today. Just tomorrow. Just worry about just go walk tomorrow. You know, just go. I know you don't like to have those conversations with those people, but just go have that conversation today. You see what I'm saying? And I think that will help us to start to move us in the direction that we want to be. Help us start to get us unstuck from this thing called fear. All right, naming what's really at stake, redefining what losing actually is, and starting small. Listen, this was an amazing conversation. I think if I might say so myself. I just think it's so real. And I want to see you, listener, I want to see you step into this year with confidence. And I don't want the things that you may want for yourself to hold you back, to jeopardize the very thing that you want, focusing on the wrong thing. So that's my hope for you. That's my prayer for you, that you might continue to lean into that and be further aligned in what you do. Listen, join us at the next conversation as we continue the conversations. This is Crazy Good Talks. My name is Joshua.